Welcome, truth seekers, to live show 139, broadcasting live from Minsk, Belarus. It's June 8th, 2025, 8 p.m. here, 6 p.m. in London, 1 p.m. New York, 4 a.m. in Sydney. Thanks for joining us on Rumble, X and YouTube, wherever you are in the world. And tonight, or today, or in the morning if you're in Sydney, we're diving deep into the end with some of the most controversial topics out there. Buckle up, because you're about to challenge what you think you know. First up, were the moon landings faked? We're breaking down evidence from the waving flag to the missing stars, fact or fiction. You decide. We want to hear your take in the comments. Then we're tackling AI, the good, the bad and the ugly. Is AI avalanche a game changer or global risk? Plus we're exposing the elite's deception. Are humans really to blame for climate change? And finally, the quickening cycle of the extinction level events are catastrophic cycles speeding up. And tonight, no politics or world events, just pure unfiltered exploration, just for a change. So smash that thumbs up, share the show and drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get started. So good evening. Tonight we're diving into one of the most audacious, awe-inspiring and yes, controversial chapters in human history, the Apollo moon landings. Between 1969 and 1972, NASA's Apollo program sent 12 astronauts to the moon to walk on its lunar surface, a feat that redefined what humanity could achieve. Neil Armstrong's words, "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind," echoed across the globe, uniting us in a moment of collective triumph. But for some, that triumph is shrouded in doubt. Was it real? Or was it a greatest hoax ever pulled? Let's set the stage. The 1960s were a time of fierce competition, with the United States and the Soviet Union locked in the Cold War space race. President Kennedy's bold 1961 promise to land man on the moon before the decade's end wasn't just a scientific goal, it was a declaration of ambition, a testament to human ingenuity, and a symbol of national pride. Over 400,000 people, from engineers to astronauts, poured their hearts and minds into making it happen. Billions of dollars were spent. Years of research, testing and sacrifice culminated in 6 successful lunar landings: Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, 16 and 17. The astronauts brought back 382 kilograms of lunar rocks, left experiments on the moon's surface and inspired generations to look to the stars. Yet, despite this mountain of evidence, there are those who believe it was all staged, a grand illusion crafted in a Hollywood studio. They point to waving flags, missing stars and shadows that seem off. They ask why haven't we been back, and whether the Van Allen radiation belts made the journey impossible. These questions deserve answers, and tonight we're going to tackle them head on. But before we dive into the debunking of the specific claims of the hoax, let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer magnitude of what NASA accomplished. Imagine the audacity of it, sending humans 384 kilometers across the void of space to a world with no air, no water, and 1/6 of Earth's gravity. Apollo program wasn't just a one mission, it was a symphony of engineering marvels, from the Saturn V rocket, still the most powerful launch vehicle ever built, to the lunar module that delicately landed on the moon's dusty surface. Every step was tracked, documented and verified, not just by NASA, but the independent observers, amateur radio operators and even the Soviet Union, America's rival at the time. The idea of faking something on this scale, with so many eyes watching, would have required the conspiracy of unimaginable proportions. Hundreds of thousands of people, all sworn to silence, with no leaks, no cracks, no whistleblowers. That's a tall order. The moon landings weren't just about planting a flag or winning a race. They were about pushing the boundaries of what was possible, about proving what humanity could step beyond our planet and touch another world. The evidence, lunar rocks, laser reflectors, photographs, telemetry data, has been studied, tested and confirmed by scientists worldwide for decades. Yet, skepticism persists, and that's okay. Asking questions is how we grow, but tonight we're not just asking questions, we're seeking answers grounded in facts, science and reason. So, as we prepare to debunk the specific claims of the moon landing hoax, let's hold on to the wonder of what Apollo achieved. It's a story of courage, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of truth. Let's dive into the claims, separate fact from fiction, and find out what really happened when humanity reached the moon. Stay with us, because this is going to be one heck of a ride. Man did land on the moon, and we're going to debunk the conspiracy theories. The Apollo program, spearheaded by NASA in the 1960s and early 1970s, stands as one of humanity's greatest achievements. Between 1969 and 72, 12 American astronauts walked on the lunar surface across 6 successful missions. Yet, despite overwhelming evidence, a persistent conspiracy theory claims the moon landings were staged. So, here we provide a comprehensive examination of why humans did land on the moon, systematically addressing and debunking the most common arguments put forth by skeptics. So, let's go through the historical context of the Apollo program first. The Apollo program was born out of the Cold War space race, a period of intense competition between the United States and the Soviet Union. President John F. Kennedy's 1961 pledge to land man on the moon before the decade's end galvanized NASA's efforts. Let's listen to that speech.
Meet in an hour of change and challenge, in a decade of hope and fear, in an age of both knowledge and ignorance. The greater our knowledge increases, the greater our ignorance unfolds. No man can fully grasp how far and how fast we have come. But condense, if you will, the 50,000 years of man's recorded history in a time span of but a half a century. Stated in these terms, we know very little about the first 40 years, except at the end of them, advanced man had learned to use the skins of animals to cover them. Then about 10 years ago, under this standard, man emerged from his caves to construct other kinds of shelter. Only 5 years ago, man learned to write and use a cart with wheels. Christianity began less than 2 years ago. The printing press came this year. And then less than 2 months ago, during this whole 50-year span of human history, the steam engine provided a new source of power. Newton explored the meaning of gravity. Last month, electric lights and telephones and automobiles and airplanes became available. Only last week did we develop penicillin and television and nuclear power. This is a breathtaking pace, and such a pace cannot help but create new ills as it dispels old. So it is not surprising that some would have us stay where we are a little longer, to rest, to wait. If this capsule history of our progress teaches us anything, it is that man in his quest for knowledge and progress is determined and cannot be deterred. We shall send to the moon, 240,000 miles away, a giant rocket more than 300 feet tall on an untried mission to an unknown celestial body, and then return it safely to Earth. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked.
The program was built on years of incremental advancements in rocketry, engineering and spaceflight, culminating in Apollo 11's historic landing on July 20th, 1969, when astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first humans to be set on the foot on the moon.
Down 2.5, picking up some dust. 30 feet, 2.5 down. Take shadow. 4 forward, drift into the right a little. 20, down a half. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot. Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now. I'm at the foot of the ladder. The limb footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches. I'm going to step off the limb now. It's 1 small step for man, 1 giant leap for mankind.
The program wasn't just a single mission, but a series of meticulously planned steps, including unmanned tests, Apollo 1 to 6, Earth orbit missions, Apollo 7 and 9, lunar orbit missions, Apollo 8 and 10, and the landings themselves, Apollo 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Over 400,000 people, countless organizations, and billions of dollars were involved. The sheer scale of the operation makes the idea of a hoax implausible, and coordinating such a deception would have required unprecedented secrecy and coordination, debunking common conspiracy claims. Moon landing skeptics often cite a handful of arguments to support their claims. So here we go. We'll address most of these prevalent ones with evidence and reasoning. The waving flag. One of the most cited pieces of evidence for moon landing hoax is the appearance of an American flag waving in photographs and videos. Critics argue that since the moon has no atmosphere, there should be no wind to cause the flag to move. So let's debunk this. The flag's movement is entirely consistent with the moon's environment. The flag was made of lightweight nylon and mounted on a frame to hold it upright in the absence of an atmosphere. When the astronauts planted the flag, they twisted the pole into the lunar soil, causing the fabric to ripple. In the vacuum of space, with no air resistance to dampen motion, these ripples persisted longer than they would on Earth, creating the illusion of waving. Here's some video footage of the flag.
You're going off camera to the right. Okay, that's good. Okay. Take a picture this way and then we'll swing it around so they can see it on television. All right. Okay, we can see it.
Now, this is a gold leaf, really thin, and the reason it chose this is to replicate the actual thickness of the flag compared to the pole it's on. So here we go. We're at 0.75 atmospheres, so let's wiggle it. Now we're down to 0, so it's in a vacuum, and you can see the astronauts are putting in the flag in the moon. They were shaking the pole and causing the flag to shake. So there's no reason to see And the next one, number 2, is missing stars in photographs. Skeptics point out that the photographs taken on the moon show no stars in the sky, claiming this proves the images were taken in a studio with a black backdrop. Let's debunk this. This is a misunderstanding of basic photography. The lunar surface is brightly lit by the sun, and the astronauts' cameras were set to short exposure times to capture the well-lit objects, astronauts' equipment, and the lunar terrain. Stars, being much dimmer, require longer exposure to appear in photographs. This is why stars are rarely visible in daytime photos on Earth as well. If the camera settings have been adjusted to capture stars, the lunar surface would have been overexposed and washed out. The absence of the stars is a natural consequence of photographic conditions, not the evidence of a hoax. Number 3, the Van Allen radiation belts. Conspiracy theorists argue that the Van Allen radiation belts, regions of high-energy particles surrounding the Earth, would have been lethal to astronauts passing through them on the way to the moon. Let's debunk this. NASA was well aware of the Van Allen belts discovered in 1958 and took precautions to minimize radiation exposure. The Apollo spacecraft traveled through the belts quickly, in about an hour, reducing the astronauts' exposure time. The spacecraft's aluminium hull provided shielding, and the trajectory was carefully planned to pass through the less intense regions of the belts. Dosimeters worn by the astronauts recorded radiation levels well within safe limits, equivalent to a few chest X-rays. The Soviet Union, which monitored Apollo missions, never disputed the feasibility of safely traversing the belts, further validating NASA's approach. Number 4, inconsistent shadows and lighting. Critics claim that the shadows in moon landings are inconsistent, suggesting multiple light sources, like studio lights, rather than the single light source of the sun. Let's debunk this. The moon's lack of atmosphere means there is no scattering of light, resulting in sharp, well-defined shadows. However, the lunar surface itself reflects light, acting as a secondary light source. This reflected light can soften shadows or create the appearance of multiple light sources, especially on uneven terrain. For example, photos showing shadows at different angles are explained by the moon's irregular surface, which causes shadows to appear non-parallel when viewed in two-dimensional images. Experiments replicating lunar lighting conditions have consistently reproduced these effects, confirming they are natural. Number 5, the missing lunar module blast crater. Skeptics argue that the lunar module's descent engine should have created a large blast crater under the landing site, and its absence proves the landings were staged. Let's debunk this. The lunar module's descent engine produced a thrust of about 3,000 pounds at landing, spread over a wide area, and the moon's gravity is only 1/6 of that of Earth's. This resulted in a low pressure exhaust that disturbed the top layer of lunar surface oil but did not create a deep crater. Photos showing the distributed area of soil beneath the lunar module with dust gathered around exactly as expected. The engine was also throttled down during the final descent to minimize disturbance, and the lunar soil's cohesive properties, due to its composition of lack of moisture, prevented significant cratering. The sea rock and other photo anomalies. One famous photo shows a rock, this one here. Let's get a quick big version of it. There it is there. Appears with a letter C on it, which skeptics claim is a prop marker from the stage set. Other alleged anomalies include objects that look like out of place or inconsistent reflection in visors. Debunked. The sea rock has been analysed extensively, and high-resolution scans show the mark is likely a hair or a piece of debris on the photographic print, not present on the original negative. As you can see it's not there on this photo. Reflections in astronaut visors, such as those showing the lunar module or other astronauts, are consistent with the scene's geometric when analysed. Many anomalies cited by skeptics are either misinterpretations of perspective, lighting effects, or minor artifacts from film processing. Independent experts, including photographers and scientists, have consistently found no evidence of tampering in the Apollo images. Number 7, why haven't we returned? A common argument is that if we went to the moon in the 1960s, why haven't we returned in the decades since? Skeptics claim this suggests technology never existed. Let's debunk this. The Apollo program was driven by political and scientific goals during the Cold War, with a massive budget peaking at 4% of the US GDP. After Apollo 17 in 1972, funding was redirected to other priorities like the Space Shuttle program and Earth-based research. Plus, the Vietnam War was costing a fortune. The lack of return is a matter of economics and politics, not evidence of a hoax. Recent missions like NASA's Artemis program and lunar probes from China, India and private companies confirm the moon's accessibility and build on Apollo's legacy. The technology existed then and has only advanced since. And in this photo from satellites, you can see each landing site and the descent modules there, plus the tracks from the buggies and footprints and also other equipment. So I'll just zoom in on each of them. This one's Apollo 11, there's a descent module there. Apollo 12, the descent module there. And there's a Surveyor 3 spacecraft. Apollo 14, the descent module. 15, seismometer, descent module, and you can see the tracks. There's the buggy tracks as well on 16. Descent module. There's the rover they left there. 17, the module. Here's all the buggy tracks you can see. There's the rover here they left. We'll just zoom in a bit more for you. As you can see, these are all the tracks. 8. Why were the original film lost? Skeptics often claim that NASA deliberately threw away or lost the original Apollo 11 telemetry tapes and films, suggesting this was an attempt to hide evidence of a hoax. Let's debunk this. The issue of the lost Apollo 11 tapes refers specifically to slow scan television (SSTV) tapes that recorded the live broadcast of the first moonwalk. These tapes were not the original films or photographs, but rather the raw telemetry data used for TV transmission. In the 1970s, NASA reused or misplaced these tapes due to storage constraints and the assumption that broadcast copies, widely distributed and archived, were sufficient. However, the original 16mm films, high-resolution photographs, and other data from Apollo 11 and subsequent missions remain intact and are stored at NASA's facilities. Copies of the broadcast footage were sent to networks worldwide, and the lunar rocks, photos, and scientific data have been studied extensively. The loss of the SSTV tapes was an archival oversight, not evidence of cover-up, and the wealth of other preserved materials confirms the landing's authenticity. Number 9. Why did astronauts appear nervous in press conferences? Some skeptics point to the Apollo 11 astronauts Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin and Michael Collins appearing nervous or subdued during their post-mission press conference, which we'll see a bit of in a second, suggesting that they were hiding the truth about the staged event. Let's debunk this. The astronauts' demeanour during the Apollo 11 press conference on August 12, 1969 is often misinterpreted. Far from being deceptive, their reserved behaviour can be attributed to several factors. First, they just returned from an unprecedented high-risk mission and were under immense public scrutiny. Armstrong, known for his stoic personality, was naturally reserved, while Aldrin and Collins were likely exhausted from the mission and quarantine period. The press conference was formal, and the astronauts were tasked with articulating the historic event to a global audience, which could naturally lead to serious or cautious tone. Psychological analysis and later interviews with the astronauts confirmed they were proud but overwhelmed by the experience, not hiding a secret. Their behaviour aligns with the gravity of their achievement, not an evidence of the hoax.
It was our pleasure to have participated in one great adventure. It's an adventure that took place not just in the month of July, but rather one that took place in the last decade. We all here and the people listening in today had the opportunity to share that adventure over its developing and unfolding. in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July that was certainly the highlight for the three of us of that decade. We're going to divert a little bit from the format of past press conferences and talk about the things that interested us most, in particular the things that occurred on and about the moon. We will use a number of films and slides which most of you have already seen, and with the intent of pointing out some of the things that we observed on the spot, which may not be obvious to those of you who are looking at them here from the surface of Earth.
10. Why can't we replicate technology and go back? Skeptics argue that if NASA had the technology to go to the moon in the 1960s, we should be easily able to replicate it today. An inability to do so suggests that technology never existed. Let's debunk that. The technology used for the Apollo missions, including the Saturn V rocket and lunar module, was highly specialized and purpose-built for moon landings. After Apollo, NASA shifted its focus to the Space Shuttle and the International Space Station. Other priorities, meaning that the production lines, expertise and infrastructure for Apollo-era technology was dismantled or repurposed. Rebuilding the exact same systems today would be inefficient and costly, as modern technology has advanced in different directions. For example, reusable rockets, advanced robotics. However, NASA's Artemis program, SpaceX and international lunar missions demonstrate that the capability to return to the moon exists and has been actively developed. The gap in manned lunar missions is due to funding, political will and shifting priorities, not the lack of technology and know-how. The Apollo program's success is well documented, and its legacy informs current lunar exploration efforts. Overwhelming evidence for the moon landings. So let's have a look at the overwhelming evidence for the moon landings. Beyond debunking specific claims, the evidence of the moon landings is vast and multifaceted, making the hoax highly improbable. So physical evidence. Number 1. The Apollo missions returned 382 kilograms, that's 842 pounds for you Americans, of lunar rocks and soil and core samples analysed by scientists worldwide. These samples have unique properties, such as the absence of water, the presence of solar wind particles and glass spherules formed by micrometeor impacts that cannot be replicated on Earth. Independent laboratories, including those in the Soviet Union, confirmed their origin. There's a moon rock here. Independent verification. Number 2. The Soviet Union arrival at the time tracked the Apollo missions using radar and radio telemetry and never disputed their success. Amateur radio operators and observatories worldwide, including Jodrell Bank Observatory in UK, intercepted live transmissions from the moon. The Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, LRO, launched in 2009, has photographed the Apollo landing sites, showing tracks, equipment and the lunar module's descent stages exactly where they were left. Laser ranging experiments. Number 3. Apollo 11, 14 and 15 left retro reflectors on the moon, which are still used today to measure the Earth-Moon distance with laser pulses. As you can see, these experiments conducted by observatories worldwide provide ongoing proof of the astronauts' presence on the lunar surface. There you go, here's one here where the light comes in, bounces back, and you can tell the distance between Earth and the moon, and they're still going today. the scale of the alleged conspiracy. Number 4, a hoax would have required the silence of over 400,000 NASA employees, contractors and scientists, as well as international partners and independent observers. The logistical complexity of staging 6 landings, producing fake rocks and fabricating telemetry data while fooling the world's scientific community is far less plausible than the landings themselves. The psychology of conspiracy theories. Why do moon landing conspiracies persist? They often stem from the distrust of institutions, a desire to question official narratives, and the human tendency to see patterns where none exist. The moon landings were a monumental achievement, and for some the idea that they could be staged feels more comprehensible than the reality of such a feat. However, skepticism must be grounded in evidence, and the overwhelming body of evidence supports the reality of the moon Apollo missions. So in conclusion, the evidence that humans landed on the moon is incontrovertible, spanning physical samples, independent observations, ongoing experiments, and the sheer implausibility of a hoax of such a scale. Conspiracy theories, while persistent, rely on misinterpretations of photographs, misunderstandings of science, and selective reasoning. Each claim, whether about waving flags, missing stars, or radiation, has been thoroughly debunked through physics, engineering, and empirical data. The Apollo program remains the testament to human ingenuity, collaboration, and a drive for the explore the unknown. To deny it is to ignore not only the facts, but also the spirit of discovery that continues to inspire space exploration today. So let's look at the AI, the good, the bad and the ugly. Let's start with the first one, the dawn of a new era, AI and the technology reshape of humanity. The rapid advancement of artificial intelligence, AI, and related technologies is poised to revolution nearly every aspect of human life, from healthcare to education, governance to entertainment, and even the way we age, work and communicate. These innovations promise the future of unprecedented efficiency, accessibility and opportunity. We will explore the transformative shifts on the horizon, highlighting the profound changes that will redefine the society in the coming decades. Revolutioning education, learning without limits. AI-powered personalized learning is set to dismantle the rigid framework of traditional standardized education. Intelligent tutors will adapt to each child's unique learning style, pace and interests, unlocking unprecedented human potential. These AI tutors will foster intrinsic motivation by following the student's natural curiosity, creating customized learning journeys that sustain engagement and passion. Students will experience unlimited acceleration, progressing at their optimal speed without the constraints of grade levels or classroom pacing. With personal mentorship, advanced AI will provide dedicated guidance tailored to each child's needs. Learning paths will continuously evolve, dynamically adjusting based on real-time understanding and interest rather than adhering to the fixed curricula. This shift will maximize flourishing, allowing every individual to reach their full potential rather than be forced into standardized metrics. Transforming medicine, the end of human-only practices. The medical field is on the brink of a seismic shift, with AI and robotics surpassing human capabilities in diagnosis, treatment and surgery. AI-guided surgical robots will achieve success rates and safety levels unattainable by human hands, while advanced diagnostics and interventions will lead to preventative revolution, dramatically reducing the need for reactive treatments. This combination of superior performance and drastically lower costs will render human-only medical practice obsolete and eventually illegal. Regulations will mandate AI and robotic assistance for all medical procedures once their superior safety record is established, marking a legal evolution in healthcare. The economic disruption will be significant, with medical care costs plummeting as AI systems deliver better care at a fraction of the current human provider costs. Ultimately, human-only medical practices will become historical relics, joining bloodletting and tree panning in the Museum of Obsolete Practices. Redefining governance, a world without bureaucrats. AI governance will transform public service delivery through hyperabundance, making traditional government inefficiencies as outdated as manual voting, counting or paper-based record keeping. AI administrators will provide tireless service, processing requests instantly and eliminating backlogs and wait times that plague current systems. With superior intelligence, governing operations will be managed by systems with genius-level capabilities, far surpassing human bureaucrats. Citizens will experience direct democracy, gaining unprecedented control over government functions through AI-enabled voting and feedback systems. Administrative AI will maintain perfect memory, ensuring flawless records and institutional knowledge without human error or insufficiency. This automation will lead to significant cost reduction, lowering the taxpayer burden while improving service quality and accessibility, paving the way for more efficient and responsive government. The breakdown of language barriers, a unified global community. The dream of universal translators becoming a reality, eliminating communication barriers through AI-powered real-time translation. Historical conflicts and misunderstandings caused by language differences will become as antiquated as the telegraph operators. AI translation embedded in devices will enable universal understanding, allowing seamless communication across all languages. This will foster cultural connection as real-time translation in social media and messaging creates unprecedented global community bonds. The result will be a peace through communication, with language-based conflicts and diplomatic misunderstandings relegated to the past. Internet integration will make entire web automatic, multilingual, breaking down the last walls of digital isolation. Future generations will find it inconceivable that humanity once struggled with language barriers, marking the rise of a true digital Babel. Reimagining work, the death of traditional office. The traditional office, a relic of the industrial age, will fade into history as AI and automation free humanity from performative desk work. The ritual of commuting to offices for tasks that can be done anywhere will be seen as observed cultural holdover, a form of corporate theatre. Forced workplace relationships and artificial office culture will give way to authentic community connections, ending the foul socialization. The economic liberation brought by the end of office-based work will free humans from trading time for money in hierarchical corporate structures. AI and automation will drive a digital transformation, eliminating the need for humans to perform repetitive knowledge work tasks. Future generations will view office life as an unnecessary form of human exploitation akin to child labour in factories, signalling a profound cultural evolution on how we redefined work. Reshaping entertainment, Hollywood's last act. The centralized high-cost model of entertainment production will collapse as AI democratizes content creation. Just as self-publishing transformed literature, AI-powered tools will enable anyone to produce professional quality films and shows for a fraction of traditional costs.
This town ain't seen nothing yet.
I don't want to talk about it.
Get the wine, we are going to talk about it.
I finished my work for the assignment.
Wait, isn't it due next week?
Google VO3 is amazing!
Will you marry me?
What? We are just friends.
So, where are we actually going?
Wait. I thought you knew? Where are the Avengers?
Is that a band? You can't win.
I already have.
Hello, do you do cappuccinos?
Of course. Is full milk okay? So, what do we do now?
We keep pushing. Forever.
It's gone. Completely gone.
Why did you delete it?
We've got a love to share. To share, to share, to share, to share. Oh, we're gonna rise to the top. Can't stop us now. We're gonna rise. Here I am again.
Please stop. This is not a musical.
I just can't do this anymore.
Maybe if we sing a song, it can help.
What?
I can do this.
Relax. You're just a robot.
So, what are we doing here?
You're right, we don't know how to surf.
I'll never understand modern art.
Neither. This stuff is weird.
So, what brings you to this event?
I don't know. I'm simulated by Google.
God, don't you just hate artificial intelligence?
Dude, we are both literally robots.
Democratic creation will see the $200 million blockbuster replaced by thousands of creators producing cinema quality content for hundreds of dollars. Traditional studios and networks will face gatekeeper extinction, losing their monopoly and determining what entertainment reaches audience. A content explosion will ensue with volume of available shows and films matching the current publishing landscape, featuring hundreds of thousands of new releases annually. AI tools will fuel a quality revolution, allowing independent creators to achieve visual effects and production values on par with today's biggest studios. This creative liberation will remove financial barriers, ushering in a new era of diverse storytelling and artistic expression. Ending hydrocarbon/fossil fuels, a clean energy future. The era of extracting ancient carbon deposits for energy will soon seem as primitive as burning whale oil for light. Renewable energy and fusion power will usher in a range of energy hyperabundance, rendering hydrocarbon fuel infrastructure obsolete. Solar dominance will harness the virtually unlimited energy of the sun to power civilization through advanced solar capture technologies, while the fusion revolution will see commercial fusion reactors provided baseload power, eliminating the need for oil and gas infrastructure. I think once fusion's out, there will be no need for wind or solar. Trillions in fossil fuels, hydrocarbon fuel reserves and equipment will become stranded assets, worthless as clean energy scales exponentially. Infrastructure transforming will see gas stations, pipelines and oil tankers repurposed or dismantled as electrification takes over. Future generations will look back as historical curiosity, marveling that we once burned hydrocarbons for power instead of harnessing limitless clean energy. Defying time, the end of aging. Biological aging will become optional through breakthrough cellular rejuvenation technologies, fundamentally altering societal structures and cultural norms. Advances in cellular reprogramming will enable a cellular reset, allowing human cells to revert to biologically younger states. This will lead to youthful restoration, where grey hair, wrinkles, and other visible signs of aging become a matter of choice rather than inevitability. Traditional retirement homes, hospice care and end-of-life medical facilities will vanish, becoming obsolete within 2 decades as part of the broader vanishing infrastructure. The economic transformation will require a complete reimagining of retirement planning, pension systems and age-based social programs. Society will undergo a cultural shift, adapting to a world where biological age is disconnected from chronological age, challenging the long-held assumptions about life stages and productivity. So my conclusion is embracing the future of limited possibilities. The convergence of AI, robotics and advanced technologies is set to redefine the human experience in profound ways. Education will become a personalized journey of limitless potential. Medicine will achieve unprecedented precision and accessibility, and governance will evolve into a model of efficiency and transparency. Language barriers will dissolve, fostering global unity, while traditional office work, hydrocarbon fuel dependency and centralized entertainment models will fade into obsolescence. Perhaps most strikingly, aging itself will become a choice, reshaping societal structures and cultural norms. As we stand on the cusp of this transformative era, humanity must embrace these changes with optimism and adaptability, ready to unlock a future where constraints of the past no longer limit our potential. The dawn of this new age promises not just technological advancement, but a reimagining of what it is to be human. And now the bad side, or the dark side of progress, AI, potential dangers of AI-driven transformation. The rapid integration of artificial intelligence, AI, and advanced technologies promise to revolutionize education, medicine, governance, communication, work, entertainment, energy, and even aging. While these advancements hold immense potential, they also pose significant risks to humanity, from economic upheaval to social fragmentation, ethical dilemmas to existential threats. We will examine the potential downsides of these transformative shifts, highlighting the challenges we must navigate to avoid a dystopian future. Education without limits, inequality and over-reliance on AI. AI-powered personal learning could unlock human potential by tailoring education to each child's needs, but the risks of inequality and fostering over-reliance on technology. While some children may thrive with AI tutors, those in unprivileged regions without access to advanced devices or stable internet could fall further behind, widening the global education gap. Additionally, an over-dependence of AI for learning might stifle critical thinking and creativity, as students may just become accustomed to AI-guided paths rather than exploring independently. The erosion of human teachers could also diminish the emotional support and mentorship that are crucial for holistic development, potentially leading to a generation that struggles with interpersonal skills and reliance. The end of human medicine, loss of human touch and ethical concerns. The shift to AI and robotics in medicine promises precision and cost reduction, but it could come at the expense of human touch that defines compassionate care. Patients may feel alienated by robotic interactions, missing the empathy and understanding that human doctors provide during vulnerable moments. Ethical concerns also arise. If AI systems make errors in diagnosis or treatment, who bears the responsibility? The developers, the healthcare system, or the AI itself? Moreover, the phasing out of human-only medical practice could lead to massive job losses in the healthcare sector, creating economic instability for millions of professionals. There's also a risk of data privacy breaches, as AI systems require vast amounts of personal health data, making patients vulnerable to exploitation or cyber attacks. Governance without bureaucrats, the loss of accountability and power imbalances. AI-driven governance could streamline public services, but it risks eroding accountability and creating dangerous power imbalances. If government operations are managed by AI systems with genius-level capabilities, human oversight might diminish, leaving citizens with little recourse if decisions are biased or erroneous. The concentration of power in the hands of those who control the AI, whether governments or private corporations, could lead to authoritarianism, where dissenting voices are silenced under the guise of efficiency. Direct democracy through AI-enabled voting systems sounds empowering, but it could be manipulated through algorithm bias or hacking, undermining the democratic process. Additionally, the loss of human bureaucrats might eliminate the nuanced judgment needed for complex social issues, reducing governance to cold, data-driven decisions. The end of cultural barriers, cultural loss of identity. While AI-powered real-time translation could foster global unity, it risks cultural homogenization and the erosion of linguistic diversity. As seamless communication becomes the norm, smaller languages and dialects may disappear as people gravitate towards dominant global languages for convenience, as sort of is happening with English now. The loss of linguistic diversity could strip communities of their cultural identity, diminishing the rich tapestry of human heritage. Furthermore, the reliance on AI for translation might lead to misunderstandings in noise contexts, such as idiomatic expressions or cultural references, potentially causing unintended conflicts. There's also the risk of surveillance, as AI translation systems could be used to monitor and control communication, infringing on privacy and freedom of expression. The death of office work, social isolation and economic disruption. The end of traditional office work could liberate humans from hierarchical structures, but it might also lead to social isolation and economic disruption. Remote work enabled by AI and automation may reduce opportunities for meaningful human interaction, such as authentic community connections, fail to fully replace the camaraderie of office environments. This isolation could make mental health issues worse, such as loneliness and depression, particularly for those who thrive on social engagement. Economically, the shift could devastate industries tied to office infrastructure, real estate, transportation, and local businesses, leading to widespread job losses and economic instability. The digital transformation might also weaken the gap between tech-savvy workers and those unable to adapt, creating a new underclass of unemployed individuals struggling to find purpose in an AI-dominated world. Hollywood's last act, oversaturation and loss of artistic depth. The democratization of content creation through AI tools could flood the market with cinema quality content, but it risks oversaturation and a decline in artistic depth. With hundreds of thousands of new releases annually, audience may become overwhelmed, leading to a content fatigue where meaningful stories are buried under the avalanche of mediocrity. The reliance on AI for visual effects and production might prioritize spectacle over substance, diminishing the emotional and intellectual impact of storytelling. Additionally, the extinction of traditional studios and networks could destabilize the entertainment industry, leading to job losses for countless professional actors, directors, and crew members who may struggle to compete with AI-driven creators. This shift could also erode the cultural significance of cinema as shared human experience, reducing to a disposable commodity. The end of hydrocarbon fuels, economic fallout and geopolitical tensions. The transition to renewable energy and fusion power promises a clean energy future, but it could trigger significant economic fallout and geopolitical tensions. Trillions in hydrocarbon fuel reserves and equipment become stranded assets will devastate economies dependent on oil and gas, particularly in regions like the Middle East, Russia, and parts of Africa. These economic collapse could lead to widespread unemployment, poverty, and social unrest, potentially sparking conflicts as nations vie for control over the remaining resources of or new energy technologies. The rapid dismantling of hydrocarbon fuel infrastructure might also outpace the development of alternatives, leaving some communities without reliable energy access during the transition. Geopolitically, countries that lead in clean energy innovation could dominate global power dynamics, creating new inequalities and tensions. The end of aging, social stagnation and resource strain. Making aging optional through cellular rejuvenation technologies could redefine human life, but it also poses a risk of social stagnation and resource strain. If people live indefinitely, population growth could skyrocket, putting immense pressure on resources like food, water, and housing. This strain might make inequality worse, as only the wealthy may initially afford these treatments, creating a biological divide between the ageless elite and the rest of society. Socially, a world where biological age is disconnected from chronological age could lead to stagnation as older generations cling to power and resist change, stifling innovation and progress. The obsolescence of retirement homes and age-based social programs might also leave vulnerable populations without support, while the cultural shift could challenge societal norms around family relationships and life stages, potentially leading to identity crises and social fragmentation. And in conclusion, navigating the risks of a transformative future. While the promise of AI and advanced technologies is tantalizing, the potential downsides for humanity are profound and far-reaching, from deepening inequalities and eroding cultural identities to creating economic instability and ethical dilemmas. These transformations could lead to a future where benefits are overshadowed by unintended consequences. To mitigate these risks, we must prioritise equitable access to technology, preserve human-centric values, and establish robust ethical frameworks to guide AI development. Humanity stands at a crossroads. We can either harness these advancements for the greater good or allow them to spiral into a dystopian reality. The future we make today will determine whether this technology revolution elevates society or becomes its undoing. And let's get on to some of the ugly bit of AI, the AI-driven apocalypse. Some experts predict population crash to 100 million by 2300. Computer scientist Professor Subhash Kak warns that artificial intelligence could reduce Earth's population to just 100 million by 2300, roughly the size of the UK's current population, as it eliminates jobs and transforms major cities into desolate ghost towns. Kak, author of The Age of Artificial Intelligence and a professor at Oklahoma State University, told the newspaper The Sun that the AI will replace nearly all human tasks, including office decision-making, leading to catastrophic societal impact. Computers or robots will never be conscious, but they will also be doing literally all what we do, because most of what we do in our lives can be replaced, he said. He predicts this will cause a population collapse, as demographers suggest numbers could plummet from 8 billion today to 100 million by 2300, leaving cities like New York and London abandoned.
Robots will never be conscious, but they will be doing literally all that we do, because most of what we do in our lives, we can be replaced. Literally everything, even decision making in offices. Literally everything would be replaced. So it's going to be devastating for society, world society. And as you know, there are demographers who are suggesting that as a consequence, the world population, one of the factors is this, will collapse, and it could go down as low as just 100 million people on the entire planet Earth in 2300.
The rapid advancement of AI tools like ChatGPT, launched in 2022, has fueled concerns about job losses. UK Chancellor Rachel Reeves recently noted AI's increasing role in replacing jobs, announcing plans to cut civil service positions. Kak argues that declining birth rates, already evident in Europe, China, Japan and sharply in South Korea, still worsen as peoples hesitate to have children, facing a jobless future. People have stopped having babies, he said, citing the high cost of childbearing and the bleak economic prospects. And Elon Musk has also warned of potential human extinction due to AI and falling birth rates. Kak doesn't dismiss this, noting additional risks like new pathogens could exacerbate the crisis. He references Musk's idea of space colonies as hedge against earthbound catastrophes, although he admits such scenarios sound like science fiction. Nobody really nearly knows what's going to happen, Kak said, but he insists the population collapse is already underway. In conclusion, Professor Kak's stark warning underscores the profound challenges of AI posed humanity's future. While technology advances promise efficiency, they risk upending societal structures, potentially leading to depopulated cities and drastically reduced global population. As AI continues to evolve, policymakers, businesses and individuals must grapple with balancing innovations with economic and societal stability to avert this dystopian outcome. And now the elite's deception, blaming humans for Earth's axis shift and the climate change. Can anyone believe that human water consumption has shifted the Earth's axis? Do the doomsday bunker building elites really think we're that gullible to buy their sponsored studies and articles? They published claims that rampant groundwater pumping altered the Earth's axis tilt between 1993 and 2010 is utter nonsense. Meanwhile, the real cause lies in the accelerated shift of the North Magnetic Pole during the 1990s, a phenomenon signalling the looming tipping point that could unleash chaos. These same elites push the narrative that humans are solely responsible for climate change and the Earth's axis tilt, despite previously dismissing sudden axis shifts as impossible, mocking researchers like Chan Thomas. Scientific American insults our intelligence with this drivel. But it gets worse. The mainstream scientific narrative claims humans and their domestic goats turned the Sahara into a desert 6,000 years ago, as per the Smithsonian Institute. Seriously, goats? Yet evidence from unrelieved fields shows that 6,000 to 7,000 years ago, during the Sahara's desertification, significant geomagnetic field variations occurred, much like those we're seeing today. This same period aligns with the Y chromosome bottleneck, where 19 out of 20 male lineages went extinct, mirroring the biblical story of Noah and the Sumerian tale of Utus Naptasium. Noah's 3 sons and their wives represent 1 surviving male lineage and 4 female lineages. In 2021, a study from Australia and New Zealand confirmed that geomagnetic excursions like the Le Champs event in 41,000 years ago triggered a rapid climate change and mass extinction, including Neanderthals' demise. The elite want to control the narrative, offering false hopes to the masses while keeping them blind to what they call the event. By blaming humans for climate change, axis shifts and rotational changes, and taxing us for it, they amass resources for their doomsday bunkers, perpetuating the illusion that we can prevent the inevitable. And in conclusion, the evidence points to a natural geomagnetic and cosmic forces driving Earth's changes, not human activity. The elite's narrative is a calculated distraction designed to keep us ignorant and compliant while they prepare for what's coming. We must question their claims, seek the truth and independent research, and reject their fear-driven control tactics. The 2004 Nimitz Tic Tac encounter, a multi-sensor verification of physics-defying technology. November 14, 2004, off the coast of Southern California, the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group encountered an unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, that has since become one of the most rigorously documented and analysed cases in modern history. Dubbed the Tic Tac due to its white, elongated, cylindrical shape resembling the candy, this object exhibited behaviours that challenged the boundaries of known physics, aerospace engineering, and our understanding of reality itself. The Scientific Coalition of UAP Studies, SCU, a group of scientists, engineers and researchers, published a comprehensive technical report in 2021 analysing this event, leveraging raw sensor data, eyewitness accounts and advanced modelling techniques. Their findings, publicly available but dense and technical, shift the conversation from speculative anecdotes to hard evidence. This expanded account delves into the SCU's findings, contextualizes the incident, and explores its implications, incorporating additional details from credible sources and analysis. The incident, a high-stakes encounter. The encounter occurred during a routine training exercise involving the USS Nimitz, the USS Princeton, a Triconda-class cruiser equipped with advanced SPY-1B radar system, and F-18F Super Hornet jets from the Black Aces squadron. Over several days leading to November 14th, the USS Princeton's radar operators had tracked multiple unidentified objects exhibiting anomalous behaviour, including rapid descents from high altitudes and sudden appearances at low altitudes. These objects, initially detected at 80,000 feet or higher, would sometimes drop to sea level in seconds, behaviours that raise concerns about potential threats or sensor malfunctions. On the day of the primary encounter, Commander David Fravor, leading a flight of 2 F-18Fs, were directed to investigate a radar contact approximately 60 miles away, accompanied by his wingman, Lieutenant Dietrich. The two weapons systems officers. Fravor descended to find a calm sea with a peculiar disturbance at the water's surface, a churning white water-like area, roughly the size of a Boeing 737. Above it hovered a smooth, white, tic-tac shaped object approximately 40 feet long, with no visible wings, control surfaces, or propulsion systems. The object was actively maneuvering, darting erratically yet precisely, like a ping-pong ball defying gravity.
There was 2 of us, 2 airplanes, 4 people. We had F-18Fs. We had got vectored out to the west after they terminated a training exercise to investigate an object. When we arrived, the cruiser with the Aegis system told us it was merge plot, which means they couldn't break us out from the blip. We started looking around, and as we both looked out the right side of our airplane, we saw a disturbance in the water, i.e. like a seamount where the waves are breaking over the top, so white water, and a white object, oblong, pointing north, moving erratically left, right, north, south, up, down, all around. As we started a clockwise flow around the disturbance, watching it, I decided that I would go lower and the other jet stayed high to observe both of us. As I got to about the 12 o'clock position, the object started to mirror us, so now we're both in a clockwise flow, opposite circles. The object is lower than me, I'm above him, and I'm looking at him with my eyes. We get all the way around the circle as I'm descending, so now there's probably about maybe a 2,000 to 3,000 foot difference between us in vertical. And I'm at about the 8 o'clock position, and the tic-tac is at about 2. I cut across the circle, so across the middle, and as I got close to it, probably within a mile to a half mile, it rapidly accelerated to the south and disappeared in less than 2 seconds. So then we turned back around. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I mean, I guess you're an experienced pilot. You've been up in the air a lot. I imagine you've seen a lot of things in the sky. What was it about the movement of this or the appearance of this that made you believe it wasn't from this world as opposed to something else?
Well, the first thing is it had no wings, so you think, okay, it's a helicopter. Well, there's no rotor wash in the water. There's no rotors. And when helicopters move side to side, they kind of slow and then they pick up speed going the other way. This was extremely abrupt, like a ping pong ball bouncing off a wall. It would hit and go the other way and change directions at will. And then the ability to hover over the water and then start a vertical climb from basically 0 up towards about 12,000 feet and then accelerate in less than 2 seconds and disappear is something I had never seen in my life.
Now listen, I'm sure you've spoken to people, you told the story to some people who react with skepticism, shake their heads a bit.
Yes.
What do you say to people who doubt the account?
Well, I think it's easy to doubt what we can't explain, but when you actually see things, and this is not the first account of someone seeing a UFO, but in this situation, you're talking about 4 people, all eyeballs on, ranging in experience from relatively new in a fleet squadron, which is VFA 41, to myself, who had over 16 years of flying and well over 3,500 hours nonstop. So I would argue that it wasn't a weather balloon, it wasn't a flare, it was an actual object that we looked at for somewhere around 5 minutes before it rapidly accelerated.
Vanishing from sight in an instant. Moments later, the USS Princeton radio operators reported the object reappearing 60 miles away at the jet's predetermined CAP point, Combat Air Patrol Rendezvous location, a feature implying either instantaneous travel or predictive intelligence far beyond human capabilities. A second flight led by Lieutenant Chad Underwood was dispatched with advanced ANASQ 228AT flare advanced targeting forward-looking infrared pod. Underwood's flare system captured the now famous video of the Tic-Tac showing maneuvering rapidly against wind with no visible propulsion signatures or exhaust plumes, no heat trails, no aerodynamic control surfaces. The object then jammed the F-18's radar when Underwood attempted to actively lock it. The act suggests advanced electronic countermeasures.
Look on the ASA. Oh my gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude. That's not our LNS though, is it? It's not. That is the LNS, dude. Well, if there's look at that thing. It's rotating.
The SCU report sensor data and physics defying performance. The SCU's 270-page report titled 2004's Nimitz Tic-Tac Incident, an in-depth analysis, is a landmark in UAP research, combining raw sensor data, pilot testimonies, and rigorous aerospace modeling. Here are the expanded key findings and technical details and context. Extraordinary acceleration and G-forces. The USS Princeton's Spy 1B radar, one of the most advanced systems in the US Navy, tracked the Tic-Tac descending from 28,000 feet to near sea level in 0.78 seconds. The SU calculated this maneuver required the acceleration of approximately 5,880 Gs, where 1 G is equal to the Earth's gravitational pull. For comparison, modern fighter jets like the F-22 Raptor can withstand 9 Gs briefly, and human pilots black out around 10 Gs. A human-made craft or pilot subject to 5,888 Gs would be obliterated. The object, however, showed no signs of structural failure or deceleration stress. The SU modelled the energy requirements for such a descent, estimated the power output of the order of gigawatts, far exceeding the capabilities of any known propulsion technology, including nuclear-powered systems. Multi-sensor corroboration. The event was not a radar anomaly. The Spy 1B radar data was cross-verified by E-2C Hawkeye airborne early warning aircraft and F-18's own radar systems. The AT flare footage provided visual infrared confirmation, capturing the object's shape and lack of thermal emissions. Multiple independent sensor radar, infrared, and human eyewitnesses produced consistent data, ruling out glitches, atmospheric phenomena, or misinterpretations. The flare system detected no heat signature or exhaust plume, which is unprecedented for high-speed aerial objects. Jet engines, rockets, or even hypersonic vehicles produce significant thermal and electromagnetic outputs. The Tic Tac exhibited none, suggesting a propulsion system or mechanism that does not rely on chemical combustion or traditional aerodynamics. Aerodynamic movement or non-aerodynamic movement. The object's motion defied conventional flight. It came to a dead stop mid-air, hovered, and then accelerated instantly without gradual build-up. Radar data showed no Doppler shift, which would be expected from an object moving through the air due to compression or airflow. This implies the Tic Tac did not interact with the atmosphere in a conventional sense. It did not fly, but rather relocated itself. The SCU posits two theoretical explanations. 1. The object manipulated gravity, creating a localized field that negated inertial and atmospheric effects. Or 2. It bypassed space-time, moving through the mechanism akin to theoretical wormholes or high-dimensional travel. Both scenarios are far beyond current human technology or physics. The apparent intelligence and predictive behavior. The Tic Tac's most unsettling trait was apparent intelligence. When it reappeared at cap point 60 miles away, it did so before the pilots could arrive, suggesting it either anticipated their flight plan or accessed their navigational data. The cap point was a classified rendezvous location only known to the Nimitz group, raising questions on how about the object obtained this information. The SU's geospatial analysis confirmed the object covered this distance in under a second, a feat implying either instantaneous travel or a break in spatial continuity. This behavior aligns with theoretical concepts like warp drive, which compresses space-time, or interdimensional transversal. Through such technologies remain speculative. Electronic countermeasures. When Lieutenant Underwood attempted to lock onto the Tic Tac with his radar, the object actively jammed the system, a capability requiring sophisticated knowledge of US military radar frequencies and protocols. This suggests either advanced terrestrial adversary with classified technology or a non-human intelligence familiar with human systems. The broader context and additional insights of this event. The 2004 Nimitz encounter was not an isolated event. Similar UAP sightings have been reported by military personnel worldwide, with declassified US government reports such as the 2021 Pentagon UAP Task Force report acknowledging 144 credible cases, many involving multi-sensor data and physics-defying performance. The Tic Tac case stands out due to its robust documentation and involvement of highly trained specialized personnel using state-of-the-art equipment. Since the SCU report releases, further details have emerged. Witness testimonies in interviews with Commander Favor and Lieutenant Dietrich emphasized the object's deliberate behavior and lack of conventional flight characteristics. Favor noted it seemed aware of us and moved like it was playing. Other crew members, including radar operators in the USS Princeton, reported tracking similar objects for days, some dropping from 80,000 feet to 20 feet in seconds. Government acknowledgement of the US Department of Defense declassified the flare video in 2017, and in 2020 it confirmed the footage was real. The Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO, established in 2022, continues to investigate UAP incidents, though its reports often avoid speculative conclusions. Scientific interests, physicists like Dr. Kevin Knopf of co-author of the SU report, have argued that the Tic Tac's behavior warrants serious study, and it could point to breakthroughs in propulsion, energy, and space-time manipulation. His analysis suggests that the object's energy output rivals that of a small nuclear reactor, yet it operates without visible fuel sources. So why the silence? Despite the report's rigour, it has received limited mainstream attention. The SU's findings are publicly available on explorescu.org, but the document's technical density, filled with equations, radar logs, and geospatial models, makes it inaccessible to casual readers. So what are the cultural and institutional factors which are also at play? Stigma. UAP research has long been dismissed as fringe despite growing evidence. Scientists and military personnel risk professional ridicule by engaging with the topic and the implications. The Tic Tac's capabilities suggest a technological or existential paradigm shift. If non-human intelligence or advanced physics are at play, governments, militaries and societies may be unprepared to address the ramifications. Classification. While the SCU report is unclassified, some speculate that more sensitive data, such as detailed radar logs or interception signals, remain restricted, limiting public discourse. And the conclusion of documenting the impossible, the 2004 Nimitz Tic Tac encounter is not a fleeting UFO story, but a meticulously documented event that challenges our understanding of physics, technology, and reality. The SCU's analysis, grounded in radar, infrared and eyewitness data, confirms the object was real, physical and capable of feats no human craft can replicate. It's accelerated at thousands of Gs, moving without aerodynamic interaction, exhibited no propulsion signatures, and displayed predictive intelligence, arriving at a classified rendezvous point instantaneously. These behaviors suggest technologies that manipulate gravity, space-time, or dimensions beyond our current scientific framework. This is not hearsay, this is evidence. Multi-sensor data, personal testimonies and rigorous modelling coverage on this singular conclusion. We are observing phenomena that transcends known aerospace capabilities and possibly our dimension. The question is no longer whether the Tic Tac was real, but whether it implies about our place in the universe. Are we witnessing an advanced terrestrial technology, an extraterrestrial presence, or something even stranger? The SU's report is a call to action for scientists, policy makers, and known public to engage the unknown, not with fear or dismissal, but with curiosity and rigour. We are not just encountering the possible, we are documenting it. The quickening cycle of extension level events. We've been studying extension level events, LEs, not myths, but real measurable cycles backed by geology, astrophysics, and paleoclimate science. A pattern is unmistakable. The time between disasters is shrinking. Earth's worst catastrophes no longer occur every few 100 million years, they're accelerating. Once we separated these cataclysms by eons, now measured in tens of millions, then thousands of years, and now in real time. The Permian extinction, the KPG asteroid, the PTM thermal spike, the Lachom's magnetic collapse, these aren't scattered anomalies, they form a rhythmic drumbeat of planetary resets, and the drumbeat is quickening. Three of the Earth's deepest systems, the Sun, the core, and our position in the galaxy, are nearing critical alignment. The Earth's magnetic field is rapidly weakening, with the South Atlantic anomaly spreading fast, a classic signal of an imminent magnetic excursion or pole reversal. Historically, these have corresponded with devastating biological and climate disruptions. The Sun is approaching what may be a grand solar minimum, similar to the cycle that triggered the Little Ice Age. A faltering magnetic sphere combined with this solar shift creates a recipe for high radiation exposure, cosmic ray bombardment, and atmospheric instability. The Earth is either already inside or about to pass through the galactic current sheet, a turbulent, dense electromagnetic region in the Milky Way that disrupts stellar and planetary systems every few tens of millions of years. This aligns precisely with the 27 million year extinction pulse found in fossil and crater records. Each crossing of this sheet rocks the planet with supervolcanoes, climatic crisis or chaos, cosmic radiation or worse. We're not theorizing, we're reading geological memory, and that memory is screaming a warning. This isn't doomsday prophecy. Awareness isn't pessimism. It's physics, astrophysics, and geology. We've observed volcanoes swelling, the magnetic field weakening, solar output shifting, deep sea temperatures rising from below, and anomalous cosmic particles increasing. These aren't isolated flukes, they're converging signs. Earth has been through this before, and what's different now is our ability to measure it. The instruments show that we're not just approaching the next global event, we're in its prelude. Most won't listen and won't see it until the lights go out, the sky turns strange, or the jet stream collapses. But for those paying attention, this isn't speculation, it's inevitability. The next extinction level event isn't centuries away, it's gathering now through the electromagnetic veins of the planet and the pulse of the stars. Cycles are shortening, the pattern is reactivating, and this time they're here to witness it. So the evidence is clear. Earth's cyclical catalysms are accelerating, driven by converging cosmic and geological forces. This is not a distant threat, but an unfolding reality. By heeding the warnings in the data, magnetic shifts, solar changes, and galactic alignments, we can prepare for the inevitable. Awareness and action are our only tools to navigate the oncoming storm. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and brace for the next chapter in Earth's cycle. Wow, what a night. That's a wrap for live show 139, folks, straight from Minsk, Belarus. We've just taken a wild ride through the most thought-provoking topics out there. Did we land on the moon? Is it all a cosmic con? We've debunked the claims, laid out the evidence, and hopefully sparked some serious debate within your minds. Huge thanks to all those watching on Rumble, X and YouTube, whether you're in London, New York, Sydney, or right here with us in Minsk. We also dove into AI avalanche, its promises and its perils, questioning whether the elite are spinning a tale about climate change on Earth's axis, and explored if extinction level events are quickening. No politics tonight, just pure unfiltered truth seeking. So, what do you think? Are you on team moon landing or team hoax? Is AI our saviour or our downfall? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading everyone. If you love the show, smash the thumbs up, share it with your friends, and spread the word far and wide. Haven't subscribed yet? Come on, join the crew, hit the button, and never miss an episode. We might not be next week because I'm out of Minsk, and hopefully I'll have access, but I'm not sure. But when I'm back, we'll have more topics that'll make you question everything. Until then, keep your eyes on the stars, your mind open, your curiosity burning. This is Live Show 139 signing off. Stay curious, truth seekers. Bye.